You know, it seems like as we get closer to the holidays, like November, December, nobody shows up. I've talked to other REIAs and they just say, you just shut down for 2 months and then come back in January because it's too small, it didn't happen. We actually have some marketing people that want to come in next month, but I think I'll call them back up and tell them, no, let's just hold off and then we'll reschedule that. Mario.
What I've done in the past with my group is I will hold our REIA the first week of December. I'll cancel out the November meeting and then have it the first week of December so it doesn't seem like it's been too long, and I've had a pretty good turnout.
That's good. Randy Hughes, who's speaking here tonight on land trust, was at Mario's meeting last night, Central Coast REIA, and they had 20 people show up. So they had a good show. Yay! So at least we'll video, we'll get it up on the internet, and it can get as big as it is. It's always nice to have the information there, so you can go back and say, now what did he say? And you can play the videos back and get a sense of something that you might have missed. What I'm trying to do over the next few months, and because we're not going to be here November, December, is move on from land trust to lease options, land contracts, just so the people that are grabbing onto these single-family homes have a way to get people qualified, have a way to get people to purchase them, and different options. So that we've gone through our advertising, multimedia, promoting the business for a few months. Now we're moving on to something else. Okay. So I want to thank you very much for showing up here. The main website, SantaBarbaraREIA.com, and what we're going to go through here is talk a little bit about the rent-ready properties that I do. That's my focus. Rehabbers as tenants, and some information about land contract versus land trust. Okay. Some information on credit repair because we want to get these people qualified. Okay. I think we started at about 6:40, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to cover this, and we'll bring Randy up here at 7 o'clock. And he'll go through a lot more than what you see there. We do have the YouTube, everything that we do, we video put it up on YouTube. YouTube's done a really good job of organizing their information. So you can go on there, pick out certain segments of the information you want to see, and make it easy to be able to check that out. Rent-ready properties, these are anything from about $20,000 up. If somebody said, hey, I really don't want to live in that neighborhood, I'd like to have something a little more expensive, we can go up and purchase something that might end up being, by the time we're through, more than $20,000, but that's a good place to start. And so the investors come to me, they come in with the cash, I do all the work, it's a full-time job. One of the things that I found here recently is renting to rehab tenants. Now, we got kind of forced into this on one of these properties because the investor was tight for cash, didn't really have the ability to pay for some of the repairs and turnover. So I put an ad out on Craigslist, and I was surprised. Before, it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, $600. I wasn't having anybody get back to me because the market was flooded with homes like that were for rent in summertime. And the place was still trashed. I didn't even tell people it was trashed. So I went back out and I said, okay, this place is trashed. It needs fixing up. And I got all kinds of people that wanted the place, but they weren't really rehabbers. They were more like, I've never touched a paintbrush, but I'd like to stay there for half the rent for the next 2 years and do nothing. So I went, no, we're not going to go there. That's not going to happen. So then yes. That's what I have. Yeah, and you're going to have that. And that's one of the reasons why when I rent to these people on these rent-ready properties, that now I'm looking for rehabbers to do it, I don't give them a full year lease. I give them a month to month, and I say, hey, I'm going to give you, 3 months, 6 months for you to show me that you're really going to do what you say you're going to do. And before I even rent to them, I go out and I make sure they really do have some kind of experience rehabbing these properties. It's, it's easy for somebody to come in and say that they're going to do something they don't. I'm not as worried anymore about having to get the people out. I'm realizing, hey, the sooner you fire people, the sooner you evict people, the quicker you get through a problem and get back to people who really will do what they say they're going to do, the quicker you can get to having a solution that actually works. Before I actually get a tenant in these properties, what I do is I go out to about 4 or 5 contractors, and I have the contractors bid. I make up maybe 10 or 20 different repairs that need to be done. They come in and they give me a price, and then I get that same contract or that same repair list to another contractor, and then I get a good idea of the different prices, and then I start giving that same list to some of the prospective tenants that want to actually live in there, the rehabber tenants. If they come back and say, oh yeah, this job is going to be $10,000, this is going to take 3 years, I know they're not serious, or at least I'm not serious. I say thank you anyway. But what I found is that there's a lot of people out there in this economy looking for a job, looking for work. And if they've already got some kind of job and they can work from home, that's a pretty big deal, you know? They're going to be more inspired of being able to fix a house up the way they want it fixed up. So it's a good match. Now, the next thing I found out is, we need to learn a little about land trust. We also need to learn something about land contracts, because that's the financing form of this. I went out and searched the web. I found somebody by the name of Wendy Patton. Don't know her personally, but she's got a lot of good videos out there on different bits of information. She's probably got a REIA. She teaches, has different people going through her coursework. And that link will take you back to her land contract versus land trust. Now, I don't know that much about land trust, and that's why we've got Randy here tonight. He's going to give us a lot of good information. I can say that land trust is a form of asset protection, but Randy's got a lot more to say than that. And the land contract is a form of financing, so we want to be able to somehow give these people a contract or something that they can eventually get some form of financing. Me personally, I would keep the financing close to the rental amount, because if you gave them a really good deal on financing, they'd never leave you. They would stay with you forever. So I would leave it close to the rental amount. I'm not charging them a last month's rent. I'm not charging them a security deposit. They're in there on a month-to-month basis. If it doesn't work out, I've got to kick them out. I'm just going to have a lot more people come into a trash house that want to do something like this and have it actually work. Okay? In my 20K properties, my investor pays for all expenses, taxes, insurance, repairs, whatever. If I can get these people to move on from fixing the place up for a decent deal and then onto a land contract, that land contract makes them responsible for all repairs, all taxes, all insurance. So now the investor's happy because they're not going to have to pay those expenses. So that's a transition that we're moving with these 20K properties. But it also helps the prospective tenant buyer get qualified, because now they're on a line contract. When they go to a lender, they just get a refinance. They don't have to purchase. They don't have to come up with a down payment. They just refinance. So rather than collect $3,000, $5,000 from them, I'm going to get them in there as cheap and as easy as possible, so that if they're really good, they're inspired to keep moving forward. And then if I charge them anything at all above and beyond the rent, it's going to be maybe $800 to get through a credit repair program. If we take a look at, Wendy also spoke about a credit repair program. She talked in a video. We've got a link back on our main Santa Barbara REIA website that we'll be able to get access to this information from. The credit repair program is one that when these prospective tenants sign up, you have full access so you can see the progression of everything that's happening as they go through it. And, the credit repair site is 640 or free.com. So what they're basically insinuating is if they can't get these people up to 640, whatever they paid is going to end up being free after some period of time. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't have experience with that. But we were not going to take the time right now to go back and look at the website. But it's there. It's something that you'll have access to, and you can look at and sign up and be an affiliate. And if you have somebody sign up underneath it, you get a little bit of money. That's not the main reason I did it, because you know how all these multi-level things go. You're not really making any money or not. But I think I'll know more about it as time goes on, and I can come back and tell you, hey, yeah, the program really does work. It's great. So we want to be able to provide these people a way to get to 640 so they can eventually say, okay, you know, I'm going to buy the house and get a loan, a regular loan. So we want to move them on to a regular loan here eventually. Now, one of the things that we did recently is we went back and updated, because I know I've talked to you guys before about doing multimedia, marketing with websites and whatnot. This is the Santa Barbara Computing website. I've got Michael, my son, who's doing the videos. Hey, Michael, he also is doing website design and whatnot, and my daughter out there, Alana, is doing this as well. So, $15 an hour, it's pretty hard to find somebody to do this for $15 an hour. When I talked to tech support at GoDaddy, they said the average price for a website setting one up for people for their business was anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 per website. And we're getting these things up for like $2 and $3 and $4, $500. So it's a good deal. What we do is we put all the information up on Google Docs and spreadsheets so you can see the progress that we're doing and the tracking of the time that's spent and what they've done and where we're going. Plus, you can kind of look at the website. And Dean has said, yeah, it's okay, Dan. He's given me the blessing of showing you something here. So I'm going to get this out of the way for a minute. And we're going to go back down here. One of the websites that I put up recently and got rid of the old one is NHBID, which stands for National Home Buyers Investors Group. Okay? That's because you're a member of the Santa Barbara REIA, you can list properties there for free. And the whole thing about listing properties is not so much, I'm going to put my property on a website that has so much traffic and everybody's there that I'm going to get it sold like that, because even a very heavily trafficked website still isn't going to sell your site unless you're out there driving people back to the information about your properties. Okay? So whether the site has a lot of traffic or not, you have the job of trying to somehow get people back to look at your properties through things like Craigslist, emails, whatever your promotion method is. So what we've got here is a website for listing properties. And as you go down it, you can see there's a few things. I just barely got this thing up and going. This is one of the properties that we have right now with the rehab tenant in it. This one, 3306 Oliver. And you notice there's an empty lot there. There used to be a house there. That got condemned and bulldozed down by the city. And I thought, one of my contractors said, hey, you ought to make a bid. You could probably pick it up for a couple thousand. It'd be a great thing to add to the house, add the value, do whatever you want to do. I said, okay, well, I waited. And the city came back and sent me something in the mail that said, hey, we've got a tax deed sale going on, and this is up for sale. And I said, what's the lowest bid? What are you starting at? And they said, $280. And I thought, well, in this market, if somebody was going to buy a lot and build, it'd be crazy because it's cheaper to buy a rehab and fix it up, right? So nobody's going to spend a lot of money on it, and nobody's going to build. But if they do, great, let them spend the money, let them increase the value of that property. But I banked on the fact that wasn't going to happen, and that probably nobody is going to get on at all. So I said, okay, if that's my bet, I'll offer $300. A couple weeks later, they came back and said, hey, you won, nobody made a bid on the property. So we picked it up for $300. Now it's part of the deal. So these people that are in there right now that want to buy the place, the rehabbers, are like, oh, that comes with it. We can put a fence up there and have our kids play and our dogs stay in there and all that kind of stuff. So it adds value to the property. I am, firm believer in tax deeds. I'm not real thrilled with tax liens, but this is an example of a website that we're doing that you can get on for free. But if you look at it, you go, hey, there's a lot of functionality here. You can actually let people list their properties here and charge them, because that's all built into it for like $85 is the website. But then it's going to take somebody like Michael to spend some time, or Alana. And Alana, thank you, Alana, for making all the calls that you do. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, we put out the emails and we had like nobody showing up for this meeting. and she got on there and called. Is there anybody here that showed up just because she gave you a call? Okay, so everybody else pretty much had the emails and came because of that. Okay, well, good. So it's, you know, it's a lot of work. She does websites too, and so what we have here is an example of something that's very functional. It will, you can set up things on PayPal and other accounts for people paying to list their properties on here. We're not doing that. You don't have, it's free for you. But what I'm saying is, if you want a website like this, it could be set up for probably $200–300 besides the cost of the site, which is $85. And let me go back and just show you. Dean recently, who's here, Dean Henderson, has got a site that we're just starting to work on. So, you know, as you look at these things, you're going to go, well, they kind of look the same. It really doesn't matter. You know, people might say, well, I want a unique website. People aren't going to come to your website because it's unique. They're going to come to your website because you've done a whole lot of work driving people to your website. These things can be altered and changed around a little bit to look differently, different colors and whatnot. But the main thing is you want something that's functional so that you can drive people to your website to see the properties that are listed. Okay? So you have a couple choices. One, you can have your own, okay, or you could use ours for free. If you just started off, maybe you want to use ours for free until you get to the point where you say, well, now I want my own. Okay? And you can generate some income off of it by letting other people list on it as well. Okay? So, what time are we at?
55.
55. Close enough. Close enough. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to call it quits for here. I'm not going to get into